In July 2005, 25 Tlingit, Haida and Tsimshian elders gathered in Juneau, Alaska to speak and listen and meet with one another, to tell stories about their lives, their clans, their nations, and their land. Stories about embracing family and community wellness. The year before, these same elders had met to agree upon a common set of traditional tribal values. Those values were then taken to the 69th Annual Delegates Assembly of the tribe and unanimously adopted. They are as follows: discipline and obedience to the traditions of our ancestors, respect for self, elders, and others, respect for nature and property, patience. Pride in family, clan, and traditions is found in love, loyalty, and generosity. Be strong in mind, body, and spirit. Humor. Hold each other up. Listen well and with respect. Speak with care. We are stewards of the air, land, and sea. Reverence for our Creator. Live in peace and harmony. Be strong and have courage. These are the stories they told.
My name is Ethel Lund. My Tlingit name is Anwugik. I was born and raised in Wrangell. I am of the Raven moiety, the Kiksati clan from Gagoon Hit, the Sun House in Wrangell. And first of all, I really want to thank Tlingit Haida for giving us this opportunity to share what we've learned in our lifetime. And I feel very grateful to have been working with the people that I have today. The things that I remember from my childhood are from my grandparents. My parents died when I was very young, and I was raised by grandparents Tom Yukas. His Tlingit name was Gonanasty. He was the history and legend keeper for our tribe, and my grandmother Josephine Lewis Yukas. And the things that they instilled with me remain strong with me today. Number one was respect. That was number one. The only time I remember my grandfather raising his voice to me is if I would, as children do, forget and start running about, being noisy and not showing respect to those people around me. And the other thing that I remember that was taught to me was that we have a responsibility to ourselves to develop to be the best that we can, but we also have a responsibility to our clan and our tribe, that whatever talent that we're born with, that we bring it back to the betterment and to the usefulness of the tribe. When I was small, we had a subsistence lifestyle like everybody in the village of Wrangell that I grew up. We lived on salmon and clams and deer meat, cockles, berries. We had a very healthy diet. But as all children, sometimes I would get envious of those who had wieners and hot dogs and hamburgers and things like that. And I would come home, and I remember saying to my grandmother one time, "Fish again, Grandma?" Boy, that's all it took. My grandfather sat me right down and told me a story about the dog salmon people, and the story originates in Cake. We Wrangell people have strong tribal ties in Cake. But it was about a young boy who did the same thing. He was complaining about salmon again for his lunch when his mother called him home. And he was late coming home for lunch, and when he got there, he took the salmon, the dried salmon, and threw it on the floor and kicked it because he was dissatisfied with having the same lunch over again. And my grandfather told me that He was, the next day when he was playing on the beach, he saw this seagull running, diving in the water, and he ran after it. And he was pulled under by the dog salmon people. And he was spent a long time with them and learned their ways. And when he was hungry, the only food that was available to him was salmon eggs. And when he went to eat it, the dog salmon people made fun of him, the way he made fun of the salmon that he had to eat. They would say, "Why are you eating those old salmon eggs?" So he would be hungry all of the time. And through the time that he spent with the dog salmon, he learned their ways and the strength and the focus and all of the things that the salmon people have to survive. He developed a respect for them. And when it came time for the people to go back to their home stream, he migrated with them. And as he got close to the shore, he heard the voice of his mother calling out, "The salmon are coming in." So he went close to the shore so he could be close by his mother. And she called to her husband, "Get the gaff hook. There's a good-looking salmon for our dinner." And he had been told by the dog salmon people, if you get gaffed or caught, shake yourself strenuously and your spirit will be released. And sure enough, when he went close to shore, his father got him by the gaff hook and pulled him ashore. So he shook himself thoroughly and his spirit was released. His mother cut the dog salmon, and she noticed in the cut there was a copper necklace that she recognized. "That's my son's copper necklace." And yes, and she called her husband. She didn't want to cut any further. They called, or the Icht, what is known as the medicine man, was present. And he felt immediately the spirit of the young boy. So he said, "Get some eagle feathers and cover the wound and wrap it and place it, clean your house and place it in the house and let it lie." And the medicine man, the Icht, kept company with the spirit of the boy, and over a period of 8 days, the dog salmon gradually reverted, to the body of the boy, and he was reunited with his spirit. And he was able to return to his mother and his family, but he had learned a great lesson, not only respect for your food, respect for the natural animals that are around us, and respect for your parents. So I have to apologize because it's been a lot of years since I've heard the story, and it was very lengthy, so I know this is probably a condensed version, but it's a story that stayed with me.
Sheesh.
Yeah, respect is a cornerstone, of our culture, and it makes it so wonderful because you feel that from the people about us. There is that respect that we accord each other. And like my friend Joe Hotch was telling me when he was teaching the children, it's respect not only for yourself and your parents, your immediate family, it's for your teachers, that are working with you. It's everyone that you come in contact with. And once you treat them in that way, they treat you in the same way. So it's a very important part of our being as Tlingit, as Alaska Native people, that we retain that element of respect. The other lesson that had tremendous impact on my life was the utilization of our talent in a way that benefits your family and your clan and your people. That was a little difficult for me because I went to school and studied to be a nurse, and as we all do when we go to Western college and school, we sometimes are challenged by different values, and you start looking at your career for what benefits me, which is the best move. And it was actually through a series of happenings over which I had no control that I was brought back to Southeast Alaska. I was living outside in the States. My grandparents were getting old, and I always knew it was my responsibility to take care of them when they got old. So I persuaded my husband and my family to move back to Wrangell so I could care for my grandparents. And it was during the time just following the Land Claim Settlement Act. There were great upheavals, in our villages and a different way of life. But with that, there were a lot of opportunities. And one of those opportunities that opened for me was the working in the field in which I had great interest, which was health care. I had grown up during the time when there was much alcoholism and a lot of tuberculosis, so I was very aware of the health conditions of the people in Southeast Alaska and really felt a commitment to do what I could. In 1975, with the Indian Self-Determination Act being enacted into law, opportunities were provided for our tribes to contract for government services, which included health services. So I became involved, and with a group of people in Southeast Alaska, we organized what is now known as the Southeast Alaska Regional Health Consortium to provide health care to the people of Southeast. And hanging here on this wall is our healing robe that was developed for us by Clarissa Hudson of Juneau, a very powerful robe that is available to any of our people that choose to use it. And it symbolizes many things. It's called Immersion. And the figure has several representations. It's a child in its mother's womb, ready to be born. And the faces and the helping hands around it are all of the relatives and tribal and clan leaders that are waiting for that child to enter the life and to welcome him and greet him. It also symbolizes somebody that's leaving this earth to go into the spirit world. And again, all of the friends and relatives are waiting to welcome that person leaving this physical life for the spirit world. And another interpretation given to us was that it represents somebody who has made a decision to change a harmful way of life, whether it's through alcohol or through drugs or through anger, through whatever, to change their way of life for the correct path, the correct way in which we are taught to live, to help each other, support each other, and respect each other. They've made that decision to change your life and follow that path. And again, the circle of hands and people willing to assist that person on their new way of life. So those two lessons that I've learned in respect and in bringing whatever talent we have back home to help your people have stayed with me and have directed my life. And I found I was very, very shy, and I really did not feel I had anything to offer. And I found out that each one of us, regardless of how we feel, we each contribute something in a very positive way. And that was a great lesson that I learned from the people around me. So what I've thought about in these past 2 days, what all of us has thought about, is our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and those coming after, and how important. That is, we keep thinking about them. And we have such a wonderful path that has been taught to us by people who have gone before us. And once we follow that, our life is really enhanced and we come together as a people, and we get stronger as a people because we support each other, and we have to overcome some of the small differences that we have and realize the bigger picture of we are Tlingit, we are Haida, we are Tsimshian, we are Alaska Native people, and we are very blessed to have the training and the history and the culture and the traditions that we have handed down to us. And as each of us gets older, as my children get older and my grandchildren, their responsibility is to teach those values to their children, because that's what we are. Again, Consortium, thank you for this time. I'm very appreciative, and I really hope some of these words fall on some open hearts. Consortium.
Alisaya King Andas Lukunana Digula Digwa Wagina Nuya Daskitalun Kilkana Digula Digwa Yahualihi I Yahualihi 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 Yahualihi